In an earlier movie, we created a particle that was a ripple for raindrops. Really basic, simple animation, simple shape. In this movie, we'll go ahead and start on a very complex type of particle animation to create a really cool look that you may not have seen in Anime Studio Pro before. It's going to be a kind of oily, black, fiery smoke that starts from a really hot source and then turns into this black, billowing type of clouds. Now, there are some particle effects already in here. One is explosion and one is smoke. They're similar but different, and let me explain how. These actions actually have some programming along with them that allow you, when you launch the particle effect, it gives you these modal dialog boxes that pop up and allow you to choose things like color. Well, we're going to do this without any of that programmability. We're just going to customize it because it's really easy to do. And instead of working like these do with items that are drawn inside of Anime Studio Pro, I'm actually going to import a couple image files to work with. So with that said, let's take a look at our layers palette. I've already inserted a smoke particle emitter, and I've created a group underneath called Explosion 1. This is where we're going to do all our primary animation and image import, and then once that's done and we like it, we're going to go ahead and duplicate this layer but bring in a different imagery, so we don't have to replicate work more than once if we can help it. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and add a new image layer. If you have access to the working files, go ahead and choose explosion1.png. Now this is a pixel-based file. It's part of a cloud picture I took with a digital camera. I just isolated it and deleted the background and saved it as a PNG file, which carries with it alpha information, that is, transparency. So we'll get these real irregular edges, which is a nice look. I'll choose Open. That comes in rather large, so let's shrink this up. Because the fire, when it starts, I want it to be small, and then we will go ahead and grow the size of this over time while we add some additional animation to it. This needs to be inside the explosion layer. The next thing I want to do is to animate this just a little bit. So first things first, let me go to frame 1. With the layer tool selected, I'm simply going to click once, and it's going to create an automatic keyframe remembering the position and rotation of this layer. Now, about 2 seconds afterwards, I want this particle to be larger, so I'm going to pull and make it larger. And I also want some gentle type of motion along with it too, so I'm going to click and drag and give us just a little bit of rotational movement clockwise. The next particle we bring in, I want to do counterclockwise, so we get a little bit more of this billowing effect that goes on. With that done, we've got 2 keyframes added. If I scrub the timeline, we see that action happening. Back at 0, with the explosion PNG file selected, I'm going to add another layer. This is going to be a vector-based layer, and we're going to call this colorization, or just color. Now I'll come over to my shape drawing tool. It's got a circle selected, and right in the middle of the scene here, let me zoom in so you can see the origin just a little bit. I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key depending on the system, and let me actually back out. That's too close. So I can draw right from the center and make this pretty good size so that when the particle itself gets larger, it will be covered still by this. This is what we're going to animate the color on to change that little sprite, is what it's called, the color of that over time. Now I'll highlight the colorization tool here. I don't want a stroke on this, and for fill, let's go ahead and give it something that's kind of yellow-orange. Oh, brighter than that. We'll click on that and maybe bring this closer to yellow and choose OK. Now we can see we've got this big item right here. What I want to do is change the color blending mode on this layer. So let me go ahead and double click on it. I will choose down here at the bottom, layer blending mode, normal. And instead I'm going to turn this to overlay and choose apply. Now, when I click apply, we can't really see what's going on. I'll click OK and get rid of this. But when we come up to the explosion layer right here, we're still not really seeing anything. And what I want to do is convert this into a masking group now. So with this top layer selected, the explosion 1, I'll double click on that, come to masking, and choose something we've already learned, hide all, and choose apply. This immediately confines the color only to the bottommost particle, and that's fine. So what does this look like? Let's go ahead and do a quick little render and see how it's shaping up here with a preview render. And well, this isn't the animation we want, but we're getting a preview now of what the particle looks like. It came in gray, it's now got variations of yellow because of the overlay blending mode with that yellow onto the grayscale underneath it. Let me close this, and I'll choose OK here. Now for the color, I want to animate this over time. So we're going to go, and this is a fireball, or I should say a little sprite. I want to have a 48-second animation. So I'm going to step forward 1 frame to frame 0. With my Shape Select tool right here, I'll click that. And there is not a keyframe right here, so I'm going to simply click on the color and choose OK again, and it sets a keyframe. Now fairly quickly I want this to go from this yellow to a much more orangey type of red look. So let me come down here, choose that, OK. Let me come just a little bit further down and change this to a very hot red. OK. And then I'm going to come down a little bit further, choose a dark gray, and I want that to convert to black here pretty quick. So now we get this color change that goes on, which will be good for our sprite while we're working. So we've got the primary animation done now. We have created a sprite by bringing in an image. We've colorized it using a masking function inside of our Explosion 1 layer. We're ready to duplicate this and bring in another sprite.